All right, it's time to train some calculation. It is August 15th, day 3 of my road to GM. Let's get started. All right, my rating's a bit low. I'm going to do harder problems. Yeah, let's dive in. Um, I'm going to start with pawn endgames. And I'm going to set a goal of 2300. So I'm going to keep solving until I get to 2300, and then I'll move on to another theme. Okay, so way to move. Okay, so I see two options. Either I take or I push. My intuition says that I should take so that I can win a tempo fixing this pawn, and then make use of that tempo. Yeah, there's the idea of playing like g4, g5, sacrificing the pawn when the king is on d6, because then the king's not in the square. Just need to get the tempos right. Tempi. Oh, wait. No, I think there might be just a... Okay, so if I take here, trade here, and then use this pawn to create a passed pawn, an outside passed pawn, and then come gobble up this pawn. This was tougher than I thought. Okay, it's 2384 rated. Let's see. So let's look at them one by one. So let's start with pawn push. So the main thing I'm worried about is him blocking my pawn, and then I'm basically just forced to bring my king back. That doesn't seem very promising. So this is almost like a process of elimination where, yeah, since that doesn't look very good, I should probably just take this. I don't even need to calculate that much because it just looks much better. So if I take, pawn takes, and then I just choose between pawn up here or pawn up here. Okay, if I go h5, let's say king f6, let's say g4. See, that also looks bad because then he can come and take my pawn. So I think it's just playing takes, takes, g4. Okay, yeah. Takes, takes, g4. If king f6, king d5 is key, because then he's in Zugzwang, and then he has to give up the pawn or sacrifice his pawn with h5. And if he doesn't go after takes, takes, if he goes king to d6 after g4, if I go g5, takes, takes, king e6, g6, king f6, g7, king takes. That's going to be a draw because he can get back in time to stop me from promoting. Okay, but you know what? I've used process elimination, so I'm just going to trust my process elimination that I should be taking this so that he can't play h5. Okay, so that worked. And then now I just need to decide between g4 and h5. So g4, yeah, the problem is king d6. But then what if I go king f5 there? Aha! And then if he goes king d5, supporting his pawn, g4, king d6, king f5, king d5. Now the king is on the line of the queening square, so he would be in check. So that looks promising. So g4, king d6, king f5, king d5, g5, g4, king d6, king f5, king d5, g5, takes, takes, e4, g6. Yeah, basically the race, it would be that I promote and then he promotes. The problem is that he's in check, so he can't promote. So that would be winning for me. So at this point, I should kind of double check, but let's just go for it. Okay, so he did this way. That makes it a lot easier because this was that. Because this time we saw where I go king d5. One thing I didn't think about is if he does sacrifice, should we play g5 check or should we take? I think we should take, because then if he goes king f5, h6, yeah, we're promoting first, and if he tries to take the pawns, I think we're definitely in time to take his e5 pawn, come back, take on a5, and then he's not in time to get to c7, which is the square he needs to get to block us in to the corner. So, what did I say? King d5. Okay, good. So I think my calculation was pretty decent, but maybe a bit slow. So let's see what I could have done instead. I could have said, yeah, I probably could have hit on this process of elimination faster. So, because that took me a bit of time to find. So I'm going to say, yeah, coming from the start, I'm just going to make a note here and say, I could have decided faster on could have decided faster on B takes a5 using process of elimination, i.e. If b5 and h5. Alright, oh, it's not letting me tag this move, but I'm going to tag this one then and say, where is it? It's not much room here. Okay, there's process of elimination. Okay, good enough. I'm going to continue and save that one. Okay, so then my note comes up here, so then I see it in spaced repetition later, and I can recall if I got it right. Yeah, I can see how I thought about it next time. Yeah, didn't use the engine this time. I'm pretty confident that I figured it all out, so let's go to the next puzzle. Okay, so here, interesting. Okay, immediately, it seems like a battle of tempi. I like the idea of d4 because then it prevents the king from going back. And then we always want to be gaining ground with our king in pawn endgames. So, so yeah, d4 kind of prevents the king from coming back. Otherwise, he just kind of goes back and forth as we kind of do the same thing. Other options, yeah, there's lots of pawn breaks. So there's, yeah, sacking a pawn doesn't seem very good, but maybe h4, maybe c4 as well. But then he gets a protected pass pawn. Yeah, it's definitely complicated. But this, okay, this is my first candidate move because it seems the most promising based on what I know about pawn endgame. So if he takes me, I take back, and then I'm ready to come in and mop up these pawns. And if he goes forward, I block. If he goes this way, probably I take, and I'm just going to be much faster than him to win the race. So I don't think he can take because he just allows my king in for free. So he probably has to play c4. He could move his king back, but that also looks quite bad. So I think he has to play c4. So here, and then I've got a couple options. Okay, the most promising after that just looks like king f5, because same thing, he can't go here, so he's going to run out of moves. But he does have a few reserved tempi, but it doesn't matter because I'm able to go back and forth forever, and he's not able to do the same because d6 is covered. So I'm just going to kind of go back and forth until he gives up ground, and then I'm going to push forward. And then once I'm forward, if I have this protected pass pawn, I'm pretty confident that I could use that to win. So yeah, I should be thinking a bit longer, calculating more, double checking. But in the interest of time, I'm just going to try this out, see how it goes. So I go d4. Okay, so this was one of the options that I thought he could do, but I figured it was bad. The reason being, I can gain ground, or I can just take the pawn. Let's see which is better. I gain ground, and then he... Okay, I always got to check for like breakthrough ideas, so if our king goes too far. So king e4, Um, b4 take this way probably to avoid a4. He takes back. I take. He takes. Yeah, that's kind of annoying actually, because then he has the outside pass pawn, and then I definitely can't win if I have to go mop up that pass pawn. So I think for that reason, I think this is forced. Can't allow him to play pawn b4. Um, yeah, and it's okay. Let's see taking the pawn. Let's say he goes king d3. Okay, yeah, it's definitely complicated. I could either try to like make inroads with my king, playing this so that I make a path for my king, or I could sack the pawn to get even more space. But he sells this reserve tempo. Maybe it doesn't matter actually, because if my king gets in, I always have this lever of playing c4. And then if he takes me, I take him, and if his pawn's on a4, then I can go mop it up that way. Interesting, interesting. Okay, let's go for this process elimination. I think that I can't allow b4 unless no, I don't think I can allow b4. I'm just going to take it. All right, let's check the engine. So my intuition was that it's kind of slow. Was that after this? Yeah, my intuition was that c2 wins, and okay, even like king f5 wins, g4 wins. How is it? How about h4? h4 does not win. Interesting. So my intuition here was wrong when I thought that I could play this to like make a little inroad for my king. That was not a good move. Let me think about why that is. So if I play h4 here, takes here, yeah, king f4, king c3, king g3, king takes b4. So the race is a tie. Hmm. So how is this worse than this? That's very interesting, because it seems like I don't lose any time. If I go here, we trade, he takes, my king comes around, takes 1, 2, 3 moves to take that pawn, whereas in the other line it takes 1, 2, 3 moves as well. Um, let's play it out. Let's see. So if I go g4, let's say takes, takes, king e4, c4, king f3, let's go back here. Oh, the difference is that the king is on the same diagonal. Again, this diagonal idea. So these pawning games are super subtle. Okay. Obviously, yeah, that was hard to see ahead of time, but it's interesting. So let me make a note of that just so yeah, let me just make a note of that. So here, I'm going to say g4, my intuition was wrong here. Since opening the f4 square from my king to enter doesn't save me any time. Um, yeah, and we don't really have a good category for this. I'm gonna say move selection, just so I have a tag, just like the generic parent category. But yeah, maybe it's more something like conceptual misunderstanding that we might need to add, especially for endgames, because endgames there's a lot of ideas that you kind of internalize over time, and then sometimes your ideas are invalid and you need to refine them. Okay, I'm gonna stop here, but yeah, basically I'm trying to get to 2300. That's my first goal, and then once I get to 2300, I'm going to switch and then do a different theme, and then let my rating settle at first, and then set a rating goal, and then the process repeats, and until you've kind of gone through all the themes, especially if you're newer to chess and you don't know all these different motifs. This way you can kind of see how the different motifs work,